What are your thoughts on fennel? I happen to love the stuff for its distinctive flavor, but I know that some of you are fennel adverse. So Keith is here, and he's got a great method that might convert some of the fennel hesitant, shall we say?
Fennel hesitant, I like that. So today we're gonna roast fennel, which tempers that licorice flavor that some people don't like and turns the bulbs sweet and nutty. It's a real treat. So first we're gonna prep our fennel. So I have 2 bulbs of fennel here. These are about a pound each or so with the fronds on. But the fronds are important before we prep them. We're gonna take some of these off, and we're actually gonna chop these and use it as a garnish. So with roasting, the name of the game is surface area, right? The more surface area you have, the more browning that you have. We tried a bunch of different ways to prep this fennel. We tried it in rounds and sliced, and the best way was actually turn it into wedges. Slices fall apart if you don't keep the core in there, and if they're too thin, they dry out in the oven. You get like these fennel chips, not that appealing.
Not
so
great.
first step is just to take off the fronds here, and then I'm gonna take the bottom off just a little bit. Usually that can get dried out, so you just wanna shave that off. Then I'll stand it up, and we're gonna cut this into 8 wedges. So in half first, and it's important to keep this core in, right? Take the core out, you have layers that are all over the place. We're gonna keep it in there. So quarters, and then into 8s, like that. Okay.
Lovely.
Those are our fennel wedges. Now, I have 2 tablespoons of water. The water is gonna help create some steam while it's roasting, but there's also another function that's gonna do. I'm gonna take 1 teaspoon of kosher salt, and I'm gonna whisk that in this water. That salt's gonna dissolve, and then when we toss the fennel in this water, that salty water is gonna get in between the layers and season the wedges. So you don't have salt on the outside, you're actually gonna have salt on the inside. I'm gonna be fairly gentle when I toss this, because I don't wanna break up the pieces too much. Okay, looks like that is well coated. And now a couple more things. I have 3 tablespoons of vegetable oil.
Okay.
And a 1/4 teaspoon of pepper. And just getting that pepper mixed in, getting the oil mixed in there. That looks great. So now for roasting. Pretty standard method here. It's time to get these onto a tray. I have a rim baking sheet here, which I've sprayed with vegetable oil spray to make sure that the fennel doesn't stick. And the placement is somewhat important here. I'm going to arrange the fennel on the 2 long sides because that's where the pan is going to see the most heat. Okay, now I want to take any liquid and oil in the bottom of this bowl and drizzle it over the fennel, like so. One more thing before we roast. I'm going to cover this with some foil. So that water that's in that fennel will create steam and help soften and evenly cook it. So we're going to go into a 450-degree oven on the lower middle rack, and I'm going to keep this covered for 20 minutes.
Okay.
It's been 20 minutes and the fennel should be nicely softened now. Carefully take this foil off. You want to make sure you see that it's already started to brown just a little bit. Now that the foil is off, we're going to continue on and make sure that that cut side is evenly browned, which will take 5 to 8 minutes.
What a gorgeous aroma.
So that's going to finish browning. We're going to make a quick dressing that will complement the fennel and just add a little bit of color, a little bit of complexity.
Great.
So I have 1 tablespoon of extra virgin olive oil in this bowl. I add 2 teaspoons of honey.
Yes, darling?
1.5 teaspoons of white wine vinegar for some acidity. I have a tablespoon of orange juice, 1/8 of a teaspoon of orange zest.
That's great with the fennel.
Yeah, orange and fennel is a classic and great combination. And just a pinch of kosher salt. I'm just gonna whisk that together with my little mini whisk until that honey is dissolved in there and we get that zest incorporated. Simple as that.
Lovely.
One last thing. Remember those fennel fronds that we saved earlier? I'm going to coarsely chop these. So we're looking for about 2 tablespoons. We have our fronds and our dressing. We just have to wait for the fennel to finish roasting. It's been 8 minutes and I've rotated this halfway through to make sure that we have even browning. Smells great, sizzling. So now I'm just going to take these, flip them over, make sure we get that second side browned.
I cannot wait to see this.
Look at the color on it.
Oh, yes. Lovely.
Now I'm going to go back into the oven, make sure that that second side gets browned. That will take 3 to 5 minutes.
Okay.
Okay, it's been 3 minutes and our fennel is golden brown on all sides now. Smells even better than it did a couple minutes ago.
Hello, fennel.
So I'm going to transfer this over to a platter. So tender. Just the pieces are barely holding together right now.
Oh my. Even aromatically, it just takes on a whole other flavor. Caramel notes that you don't get with fresh fennel, which is delightful, but this is a whole different animal here.
It still has the kind of licorice aroma to it, but it's definitely sweeter and milder and nuttier. Drizzle this right over our fennel.
Oh, how beautiful.
You can smell the heat kind of coming off and releasing that orange flavor in our fennel fronds.
That's what fronds are for.
You were waiting to say that, weren't you?
All day.
Okay, let's eat this.
Please.
3 wedges for you.
Lovely.
I'm gonna go for the core. That's the best part, I think.
All right.
I'm not gonna mess around. So soft and tender.
I know what you were saying about nutty. Almost a hazelnut flavor to it.
That's right.
Yeah. It's so tender.
Yeah. And when it's raw, fennel can be really stringy. And it has some of that now, but it's really tender. It's almost like you don't even need a knife.
No. Oh,
Orange is a perfect complement to this, isn't it?
it really is the orange. And there is still some of that licorice flavor, but it's so, so soft. Spectacular.
Perfect.
Everybody's gonna love this. You're gonna love this, and you're gonna wanna make this beautiful roasted fennel. And it starts by tossing wedges of fennel with seasoned water. Roast the fennel cut side down under foil, and then remove the foil to get that fennel nice and brown. And don't forget to finish with a flourish of a flavorful dressing at the end. So there you go from America's Test Kitchen. Beautifully roasted fennel with orange honey dressing. You can get this recipe and all the recipes from this season, along with product reviews and select episodes, and those are all on our website.